This is Will Schick. He's the marketing director of Monsterpocalypse.
Yeah.
Hey, Will. How you doing?
Nice to meet you, man.
We just had a few questions for you.
Sure.
The first being, like, as marketing director for Privateer, for Monsterpocalypse specifically, what's your job? What do you do?
Well, I'm in charge of like writing all the copy. So anytime you see something in print that's on a box or in an ad or something,
Okay.
I probably wrote it.
Okay.
And then we have a great editing staff that goes through and changes the entire thing. But like I give them round one, so
So you get the ideas on
I
the
get the
table.
ideas on the table, and then they make them sound a little prettier, and then we go back and forth.
Okay.
I'm also in charge of making sure like the websites get updated. Like currently, we're actually working on revamping the entire Monsterpocalypse site.
Very cool, yeah.
So that's kind of going to be the main project once we get back and PAX rolls down, because that's our last major convention.
Excellent.
So hopefully, like in the next 4 weeks or so, we'll start seeing like the inklings of a new site, and it'll look very similar to the company page, like what we did for War Machine and Hordes. So that's a big thing right now.
Okay.
And then really it's just keeping up with like all the guys who are doing coverage on Monsterpocalypse, answering questions like that.
Very cool. And here you are.
Yeah, here I am.
Yeah, very
here I am.
So how has it been, like, traveling around the conventions? It's been a really good response to Monpoc?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
People are digging the game?
Yeah, we just got done with Comic-Con a couple of weeks ago, and that was like awesome.
Yeah.
Because Monsterpocalypse does really well here because it's a game and it's got a lot of good stuff. But Comic-Con's got like that great. It just hits the vibe of Monsterpocalypse, right?
Oh.
So you get like the comic books and the superheroes, and then you have giant monsters stomping the city. So
yeah, it's a classic.
it's really fun because you get to bring a lot of non-gamers into the game, right? And you really pull them in because they see the visuals and they like that. And then you're like, well, now you get to like take control of the monster and stomp them over the board. And they're like, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
Like, we had this really awesome little girl who was with her dad, and like Kevin, who was doing the demo, would sit there and he'd be like, all right, so now you're going to take that guy out. And the little girl would like look up at her dad and she'd be like, I'm going to take you out. And then she'd like roll the dice, right? He'd give her the dice roll, and she'd roll the dice, she'd look at him, then she'd look at him, she'd look at the dice, she'd look at him, and then he'd be like, you got him. And she'd be like, yeah.
Oh, yeah, so it's a good
cool.
family bonding.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Well, that's kind of one of the questions I had was, do you have any like plans to bring gamers that aren't usually miniatures gamers, but maybe into giant monster movies, Godzilla movies right in, bring them into this world?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like the whole design behind Monsterpocalypse and its factions is to be universally appealing, right? In my kind of foray when I'm like explaining Monsterpocalypse, I'm like, did you ever watch Saturday morning cartoons?
Right,
and if you did, I've got something for you, right? So it's definitely like the idea is to give something that everybody, at least whether they're a gamer or not, right, can see it and they're like, that looks really cool. There's something there for me.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. And we did, like, we all grew up on those cartoons, and so, like, this just hits.
Yeah.
We're all Godzilla fans and whatnot. So, like, based on, you started with Monpoc, and you had expectations, I'm sure, for how the game was going to sell. Did you exceed those expectations, or?
We, when the game came out in October, right, we got a little preview of it at GenCon because we did the preview set and everything. And, that was insane. We ran out by Saturday, and, like, we were holding stuff back and limiting people to this buy, and it was just the preview set. And so that kind of amped up our expectations, and then the game hit in October, and it was just insane. Wow. We ran through, like, two production runs of starter boxes.
Wow.
And like we had planned to get a second one, and the third one caught us a little bit by surprise. And the game has continued to do really well, right? Like every time the new series comes out, fans seem to really enjoy what it's giving them.
Yeah.
And I think Series 4, honestly, Series 4 is going to be awesome.
You think that's the big one?
I think so. I think Series 4 is gonna like mirror October and like the excitement and stuff because you're getting 6 new factions. The figures for it look phenomenal. Like I know you guys were looking at Quantum King Kondo in there in the case.
So cool. And a Quantum, like a new form we don't know anything about. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
And there are more previews over in the little display case up there too.
Good view of that.
So there's some pretty awesome stuff.
So also, like, as far as the universe of Monsterpocalypse outside of the game, like, books and exploring the lore, like, do you have any future plans for that?
Well, we're always on the lookout, right, for like any kind of opportunity that comes our way, and we've put ourselves out there. Like Comic-Con, part of the reason is like it generates interest and stuff in the game. And there's a lot of Hollywood types that go there, so we're definitely like willing to take the IP to like everywhere it can go, right? Because we just love what it is and what it represents. And Voltron which is kind of right behind me, is like the next big thing, right?
Right.
So that's kind of our first foray into getting, a true Saturday morning cartoon hero and putting him in the Monsterpocalypse so that he can start beating up on like Gorgadra and the like.
It's perfect. Is there any future plans you can tell us about with like other licenses maybe you're working on?
Well, currently Voltron's the only license that we're working on right now, and he's going to come out in 2010 during probably first, second quarter. And it's going to be very awesome. He runs the Morpher idea, but unlike the Series 3 Morphers, he's actually composed of 5 parts.
Okay.
And his villain, doesn't miss out. He also gets to morph. So we had a lot of fun. Web's been awesome to work with. We did a couple of new concepts for the thing, just for like the units and stuff, and they've been great. So I'm really excited to see it come out and like everyone to get to play it.
Great, man. That's great. One more thing, like we're about to sign up for the Masters, and very excited about kind of the more competitive aspect of Monsterpocalypse. As far as the prize support for it, was there any particular player base you were trying to attract? Because it's not really, it's more of a collector prize, which I'm totally into, and less like about winning big money and stuff. Like, I kind of get the feeling that that's the vibe Monsterpocalypse is going for.
Sure.
It's like that kind of like we just enjoy smashing monsters.
Well, there are two schools of thought, right, on like prize support. There's one where you have the big cash money prizes, or like the big ticket items, right? And then there's the idea that you play for the love of the game, and then you get something cool, like trophy, pennant, like special things, whatever, right? But in the end, you're there because you love the game and you love the community of the game, and really that's what we're all about, right? Like even with War Machine Hordes, you get trophies, right? The big Masters prizes are trophies. We don't want to foster like an uber competitive environment where you're playing the game as a job, right? You should play the game because you love the game, and like you want the bragging rights to come along with like winning Masters, right? So one of the things I'm really happy about was the pennant idea that we did with the 20 by 40s, and they're hanging up in the exhibit hall. So hopefully you'll get to see them up there. But
take a look at
but that was kind of like my thing. I was like, what could we do that was cool, right? That it's kind of like take home and brag, and you can hang it up on the wall. And so I was like, well, doing like some kind of award pennant where you get to take it home, right? It's yours, and you're like, 2009, it was me.
Yeah.
So it's a very fun kind of like prize, I think, and it does justice to what you're playing for and what you're winning.
Very cool, man. What's your favorite monster?
Favorite monster? Ooh, that's a tough one. I probably would have to go with. I really like Legionnaire's look. I think he's probably one of my new favorites. It'd be either him or Osheroth, honestly, out of the new series. I think both those monsters just look badass.
And do you have any prediction for the top first place?
Oh, honestly, I think that I think we're all going to be surprised, and I'm kind of rooting for a shocking like either a Pterosaur victory, like I think Pterodax has a good chance, or I'd really be pretty pleased if Osheroth took it as well.
Osheroth, yeah, we've heard a lot about Osheroth.
Yeah.
A lot of people aren't ready for him. Ken's a Pterodax player. He's got it on lockdown, so we'll see. Well, hey, thanks so much.
Thank you guys. Yeah, no, awesome.